Hi, everyone. My name is Mark Dinglasan, and I'm the Executive Director of CUMAC. We're an anti-hunger organization based in Paterson, New Jersey, and we serve Paterson, Passaic County, and Northern New Jersey. When I often get invited to give talks, one of the things that I get asked a lot is, hey, wait a minute, why is the food organization talking about adverse childhood experiences and community building? The answer to that is very simple. For CUMAC, ending hunger has nothing to do with giving people food. Feeding people is about giving people food. But ending hunger is about making sure residents that are coming to you for help have the power to go out and get resources, secure resources, and tell executive directors like me what it is that they need. So let's talk about that. On screen right now, you are seeing CUMAC strategy called Trauma-Informed Community Building, and I'm going to take you through it very quickly. The first step in trauma-informed community building from our perspective, and I'm not going to say anything during this talk that will be earth-shatteringly revolutionary. I just want to impart what I hope is a new way of thinking about how we can work at this problem, the problems we're trying to solve collectively. So the first step in our TICB process, trauma-informed community building process, is to ground everything that we do in the understanding that adverse childhood experiences impact development. And that means development of children, adults, families, and communities. If we can acknowledge that, what we then do is we say that impacted development, when it is ongoing, creates chronic stress. And for those of us that have been doing a lot of ACEs work and trauma work, we know that the chronic experiencing of adversity and stress is called toxic stress. So why does that become concerning for us? Because we know that ACEs and chronic stress are at the root of poverty because it affects social determinants of health, and it affects the way our bodies develop. One of the primary reasons that CUMAC believes ending hunger has nothing to do with giving people food is because we know that giving you healthy fruits, vegetables, and meats, which is what we do, will really not go that far if you are experiencing chronic stress that is affecting your digestive system, that is affecting your ability to think about how to eat healthy. And then we go a little bit deeper and say that historical and generational trauma continues the cycle of poverty, because we know ACEs and chronic stress, through the science of epigenetics over the last few years, we know that ACEs and chronic stress gets passed down through the generations, and the experiences and the trauma that live in our body, we pass that down to future generations through our genes. So these first four circles are the foundational knowledge that CUMAC uses to do food justice work rather than emergency food assistance work. Remember from Brian Stevenson that the opposite of poverty is not wealth, it's justice. So what does justice look like? For CUMAC, it means that if we understand all of these things that I just talked about, there is a call to action to partner with families to secure resources and live healthy, independent lives. So how do we do that? First and foremost, my big crazy dream is that 80% of our team will be from the communities we serve on living wages and full benefits. Right now, more than 70% of our team is from the communities we serve, reentry programs, welfare programs, the immediate community. You get full benefits if you elect to go on our benefit system. And my board, who I love dearly, just approved that the minimum wage at CUMAC is $15 an hour. And most of our folks make above $15 an hour. And then we have 4 or 5 trainings a year, staff trainings, and anybody that needs help, wants to go to trainings and whatnot, wants to go back to school, we help with that as well. We really hire, educate, and resource community members. It does not work for CUMAC if all we're doing is giving healthy food into the community and that's our version of lifting people up. Our programs must be community-led because we know about the generational, historical, and biological impacts of ACEs and toxic stress. When you hire and resource the community that you're called to serve, that is how we can create leaders that lift up their community. I don't live in Patterson, so it's not my business to tell Patterson what it needs. But what I can do as the executive director of an organization working in that community is I can lift up leaders from that community, resource them, and educate them about adverse childhood experiences and how they impact development, how that creates toxic stress, how that's the root of poverty, because we pass it down from generation to generation. If I can create leaders that understand everything that I said, and they know it's their business to be the ones to reach back and lift up their community so we're partnering together, then we go out and build partnerships that benefit the community's development. Then I, in partnership with my community leaders that I have built up and resourced, go out to the corporate partners, to the foundations, to the government partners and say, this is how we want to do this work. Because this is what the community is telling us, because this is what justice looks like, because this is what we know adverse childhood experiences does to us generation after generation after generation. And here comes what makes the work even harder. We then make this work data-driven, because something that is not tracked will probably not be resolved. And if we are not, as organizations, tracking the effects, positive or negative, of our work on knowledge, attitude, belief, and behavior, KBABA, in the communities we serve, the chances are very great that we might be part of the very problems we're trying to solve. If we can do all of those things right, and that's a heavy task, and it was hard before a global pandemic, so it's not lost on me that it's even harder now, then maybe, just maybe, we get to a point where we've built a thriving community powered by residents, where the work is data-driven, filled with multi-sector partnerships, and informed by a common language that we not only have to prevent ACEs, but prevent the generational passing down of trauma. This is how we end hunger.